Stop wasting your money and time buying expensive razors. For just a couple bucks a month, DollarShaveClub.com will ship amazing quality razors right to your door. Come on, join the hundreds of thousands of guys who have upgraded to the smarter way to shave. Shave time, shave money. Join now at DollarShaveClub.com/roosterteeth. This episode of The Patch is sponsored by NatureBox. Order great tasting, healthy snacks right to your door. Forget the vending machine and get in shape for summer with healthy, delicious treats like everything bagel sticks. Support this podcast and get 50% off your first order. Go to naturebox.com/thepatch.
Hey!
Why, hello, I didn't see you there. Welcome to this week's episode of The Patch.
Nice of you
Has
to join
something
us.
changed?
Something has changed. We're in a new set.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what it is. I know it's subtle. It's hard to see. It's the untrained eye.
You wouldn't
Probably not
notice.
notice it. Oh, wait.
I
Speaking
thought
of
we got
coasters,
a new hourglass.
the hourglass
Nope.
is the same.
Same
One
sand.
that I thought maybe we got one that was actually an hour.
We had a discussion before the patch started as to whether or not the gravity is different here in this location than the old location.
Yeah, I did wonder that, yeah. It's
So-
more mass under it now. This is
find
a little
out.
bit... Well, no, that last table was actually probably more substantial than this one.
Probably.
Well,
So-
maybe it's our sense of gravity that's going to be different.
Our sense of
Well, let's discover and explore together. This week, patch number 50, Gus
Ashley!
Ryan.
and Gus. So, patch number 50, I was thinking about it. In 2 weeks, the patch will be a year old. We'll hit episode number 52.
Should we get it a cupcake?
Maybe we should have waited for the set unveil, which has been a long time in the
That would have
making.
been a good idea.
I'm impatient though. We've been working on the set for a long time, and I'm happy to
screwed
finally
that
have it
pooch,
out.
Gus.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think we started
No
talking
anniversary sets.
about building this set back in late December, so it's been like 4 months of like planning and then construction, and now
So
it's done.
then what are you going to do for the 1 year anniversary of the patch?
Drink a beer, like any other day.
I think you've done that on previous... How many anniversaries have we had?
We've had a few.
Every podcast is its own anniversary.
There you go.
I'm not big on dates, on remembering dates. All right. Well, anyway, patch. We're here to talk about video game news. Big news. I think probably the biggest news of the day. Sony finally released the 1.70 firmware update for PS4,
They did.
They-
which
did.
introduces Share Factory and removes HDCP.
And guess what? It doesn't work with Blackmagic.
It
Wait, what?
The Blackmagic intensity cards, the things we usually capture with, apparently it's not so hot with those.
works with the Elgatos though, right?
It does work with the Elgatos.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys weren't using Elgatos.
Oh yeah, no. Most of the time we use the Blackmagic. Most of the time, in the previous office, I was using the Elgatos almost exclusively because I didn't have a full PC.
The Elgatos
What's the
only
difference?
record in H.264, whereas the intensities can do ProRes. And when you're editing, it's better to do it in ProRes anyway because it's higher quality. It's less CPU intensive, and especially if you're editing in Final Cut, which I know a lot of you guys do.
Not me.
You guys
Don't
edit
look
in
at me.
A
Final
lot of the
Cut?
Achievement Hunter guys do.
Actually, it's starting to taper down.
Yeah.
'Cause now Ray's off of Mac, so he's doing Premiere. Gavin finally gave Premiere a shot. So it really, and Michael doesn't
Yeah.
give shit.
So if you bring H.264 footage into Final Cut 7, you have to render it before you can do anything in it.
yeah, it hates it.
So
Wow.
that's why it's like a big bottleneck. That's why typically we had been using the intensities for ProRes in the past. But if it works with the Elgatos, I mean, that's a huge step up anyway.
It is. Yeah, we're definitely closer to being able to record. I don't know that we have enough Elgatos currently because we've had some loss with those. There's been some fall off in there. A lot of people wonder sometimes why I lose a lot of footage. It was the Elgatos. They were a major problem there at the end.
It's not
granted,
Ryan. The cat's
I
lost it.
threw a lot of those damn cats. I threw a lot of footage at those things. That's probably more intensive usage than most people would ever put one through. But it was starting to die at the end. So we don't have enough of those to go around. We can get some more, and then we'll be off to the races.
So
Nice.
what are the problems that the Blackmagic has?
Just won't talk to it.
It's just a black screen, right? Like
Yeah, you get
HTTP
nothing.
is still enabled.
Well, it's more. I think they're leaning towards it's just not doing a correct HDMI handshake. There's
Gotcha.
a problem there.
Well, that could potentially just be solved by a driver update on the Blackmagic side. Then.
Could be, yeah. I don't. There has been a recent Blackmagic driver update that we haven't tried yet.
Yeah.
So maybe
That
So
might work.
It's been commonly reported though that it's not working.
What are the other things that was in this patch notes? I want to go back because I felt like a fucking lunatic when I talked about this last time.
All right.
And this patch note revealed something that I did not know previously.
What did it reveal?
Mystery.
So I don't know if you remember, you weren't. One of you wasn't on it. When
Okay.
we had Ray a couple of weeks ago, I
Not
talked.
me.
I talked
No,
about
I was.
streaming, and I talked about how it was easier to stream on the PS4, but I felt like the quality wasn't as good.
Yeah.
It turns out the PS4 before this update was streaming at 960 by 540,
Well, yeah, that's
and not
yeah.
not at 720p.
No, they announced that this patch was bringing it to 720.
Right. But I didn't know that. That wasn't listed anywhere. I didn't realize that.
So you're saying your eye caught that extra 200-something lines of resolution?
Well, no, I mean, I think it makes a big difference when you stream just because, like, you're already dealing with that extra compression on top of everything else. But, yeah, now it's brought up to 720p. So I'm curious to try it now and see what it looks like.
But that's still going to be dependent on the user connection, right? If the user can't stream in 720p, it's still going to look like crap.
Yeah, but
so maybe you should try it on your super fast connection.
I've got fiber. I've got fast internet at home.
Well, you should tell us what your Twitch username is so that everyone can watch you stream and tell you if you're really at 720p.
No.
I'll just do my tests in silence by myself.
Doesn't this patch also introduce the ability to archive, or is that coming later?
It does. It rolled out with this patch. I don't think they had announced that it was going to be bundled with this. Everyone thought it was still going to be at a future date. But surprise, it's out there now.
Good. That's really good. I always thought that was sort of a weird thing for them to be missing the Twitch integration.
Yeah, I had heard that was a feature set missing on the Twitch end, I believe, and that it was something that needed to be addressed there. And now apparently it's been resolved. But I noticed recently, I started experimenting the other day with Shadowplay. The NVIDIA built-in solution for this. By default, if you stream via Shadowplay to Twitch, the same thing. It doesn't archive. You have to go into your Twitch settings and enable archive of your old broadcasts. And it even then, it doesn't save them forever. It's just like a buffer, essentially. Like, here are your most recent broadcasts. If you want to save them, you have to go through and explicitly say, I want to save these. I
wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that the average length of a broadcast on Twitch would be pretty long. Whereas, somewhere like YouTube, there's a lot of very short videos. Hey, they're very short. As opposed to 30-minute Let's Plays, but on Twitch, everything is quite long.
Yeah, and they've seen crazy exponential growth over even the past 6 months with the launch of the new consoles and things like Shadowplay and, the streaming becoming a lot more ubiquitous. Aren't they also, don't they also now have like a mobile iOS streaming solution? Or am I crazy about that?
There's an app. I think they're talking about introducing that. I'm not sure if it's actually out yet.
Okay. Now, are you saying that they will add the functionality to stream mobile games? Or
right.
I believe so.
Really? Yeah. I can put my Candy Crush out there? I've never played Candy Crush, but maybe now I will and stream it to Twitch.
We can all watch Bernie play those stupid Don't Tap the White games or Flappy Bird or whatever he's into at the moment.
My current favorite iOS game is Hearthstone. Ever since they released the iPad version, I almost never play it on my PC anymore. It's like, I can just play it on my iPad. So I carry my iPad with me everywhere I go, and I'm just playing Hearthstone non-fucking stop now.
I've seen pictures of people playing that, like that's what they do. That's their version of tread gaming now. Is because it's really easy to just put an iPad up on the treadmill and play that way, as opposed to having to get a whole setup.
Right.
I would very much like to play it on the iPad, but I don't know if you've seen my iPad screen.
Yeah.
it's no good for anything but use as a teleprompter right now because it's completely cracked.
Or shredding fingertips.
Bernie has a really bad habit of this. He drops and breaks Apple products in the process of taking off or changing cases. This happened with his phone just a few weeks ago, and that's how the iPad got completely shattered. So yeah. I don't dare touch the screen enough to play a game on it.
So apparently someone on Twitter, who's Angelic Rocker, is saying that Asphalt 8 for iOS has Twitch integration already.
Okay,
so
great.
There you go.
Apparently there are titles already incorporating that.
So and while we're taking Twitter comments, Olivia says Gus sitting in that new desk makes me think of a cat stuck in a box.
No, cats are happy. There we go. Cats love getting in boxes. Cats are never stuck in boxes. They've conquered the box.
They do their best.
They've allowed the box to contain it temporarily. I can't wait to see the Photoshop of you with whiskers for that pose. So does your character from Hearthstone on iOS carry over onto the other platforms? Or?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's not really a character per se. It's more like the decks you've built and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's essentially the same game. The one complaint I have is that I have an iPad 2, so it gets a little sluggish sometimes when there's a lot of like visual effects on screen. But that iPad is old as shit. So I don't blame the game necessarily. I know I'm running it on old mobile hardware.
Not that old, but it's older generation, yeah.
What are we up to now? Like iPad 5 or 6? I mean,
they don't number them like that any longer. Right now it's like
Air. They got the Air and the Mini.
There's a Mini, yeah, I think, right?
Is it a Mini 2 or is it a Mini or is it a Mini Air?
I don't. No, there's no Mini Air yet.
Is there?
I don't know. There's a billion of them.
They're all.
It's confusing.
Light.
Yeah.
Ish and mobile. So.
Apparently, I need a new one to play better Hearthstone.
It's got to get lighter so it can get faster.
Yes, that's how it works, right? The lighter something is, the faster it is.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like that scene people love from Jurassic Park where the kids got the goggles and the guy's like, "Are those heavy?" Yeah. Well, then that means they're expensive. It's like now you got like shit like this, which is like
Technology
super light.
always just turns it around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It always goes the other way.
Doesn't work anymore. And I'm gonna go on a tangent here.
All right,
because we
okay.
talked about
Wow.
Jurassic Park.
Derail.
There's I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's like those pictures on the internet of the credits from Jurassic Parks where there's like the dinosaur supervisor, Phil Tippett. And people are always like, "You had one job, Phil." And I guess he was like the visual effects supervisor.
Uh-huh.
He's not amused by that. I saw an interview with him where people asked him about this, like the "you had one job" thing. He is genuinely upset, I think. Because he's like, I don't know. These people should have.
Does he think that people actually blame him for letting the dinosaurs out?
I don't know. It's like he didn't get the joke or was not appreciative of it.
Maybe it's like the honey doesn't spoil joke, and it's just been used so much that
tired of it. He's heard it too many times.
he's like, it was funny for the first 6 months, maybe, but the 3, 4, 12 billion years after that, not so much.
I really like the idea, though, that it's just a joke that he hasn't gotten yet. Like, he hasn't figured out why people keep saying that.
You think one day he'll just go,
Oh, I wonder how long someone has gone without realizing the joke like that. This may be the longest running not understood joke ever.
Yeah.
I always wonder that about people who become memes. Like there's like Scumbag Stacy and Scumbag Steve, and he's totally embraced it, and she is no longer on the internet.
Really? How do
Yeah.
you get off the internet?
She just doesn't really use the internet.
Obviously, she is not off the internet because she's always over those memes.
Yeah, I
but
see her every day on Reddit. I don't think this is true.
She has not escaped.
So speaking of jokes that people didn't get,
Okay.
I saw that there's a new Adam Sandler movie in development called Pixels.
It's supposed to be video game related, right?
Right. I guess it's like aliens discover Earth through classic arcade games like Space Invaders, and they think as a result of that, they think that Earth is preparing to go to war with them. So they have to they come and attack Earth, and Earth has to send like its best video game champions to fight them because they're mirroring the tactics they saw in the video games.
So it's basically like Galaxy Quest, except instead of getting all of our TV shows, they got our anti-alien video games.
Yes.
Which apparently you have to dig for these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a real quick note before we get to the
Yeah.
dig. Adam Sandler, man. Like I want to like this movie, but it's got Adam Sandler attached
Well,
to
I mean, it was based on a short, and I forget the guy's name that made it. It's several years old now. That was really cool. I mean, it's an amazing visual effects short. But yeah, I don't. That whole premise, as you've laid it out, makes zero sense.
Yeah, I mean, but Adam Sandler likes making movies that make zero sense. Like you think about Jack and Jill, or that other
Click.
movie he's promoting right now where he went on some dates with a woman, then they broke up, and then they both go on vacation to the same remote exotic place, and they bump into each other.
So forgetting
This
Sarah
sounds
Marshall.
a lot like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Except I think they have kids. Yeah, it's
forgetting
it's
Sarah
weird.
Marshall too.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I'm skeptical of this movie.
Was this the one with Jennifer Aniston in it?
No, it's got
Was it a romantic comedy? Because
it is. Oh, it's got Drew Barrymore. Of course, that's who it is.
Again?
wait,
really?
is this the one
Yeah.
where she can't remember anything?
No, that's 51st Dates.
A movie you can't help.
I'm sorry,
but
I've
not.
run out. I'm not good at the whole romantic comedy thing. I've exhausted my entire knowledge of it.
So you mentioned digging for old
Right.
games. I guess there was that big dig out in New Mexico.
The
this past
Microsoft
weekend.
documentary team that went out there and dug up ET.
Right, they found the burial site. Have you seen
Burial site. It's like a pharaoh.
the naysayers?
The
What?
naysayers.
They're don't tell me they're saying that this is like the moon landing.
There are yes, exactly.
You're
there are
kidding.
conspiracy theorists who there's a picture of Major Nelson out there with his hard hat on and holding a cartridge. And if
Yeah.
you've never worn a hard hat, they don't sit quite on your head. You know, there's a big cushion area to absorb impact. And the hard hat's really high on his head. So people are saying that the hard hat's obviously photoshopped onto him and that no one ever that they went out there and dug something up, but it was all staged and fake.
No human could wear a hat that inappropriately.
So I've seen like photoshops with like the Illuminati pyramid, and, like the all-seeing eye on it and stuff. And so it's a small group,
Now-
much like moon landing.
Now I like
conspiracy
the
theorists.
idea, and I really wish it were a conspiracy because that would be fantastically elaborate.
mean-
I would like the documentary to just be like the surprise topic of
like
we
Blair
wanted to
Witch.
fake this.
Uh-huh.
and this is how we did it.
They did find it really quickly. I mean, they were like, okay, we're going to go dig.
I think they had
Here it
already done
is.
some preliminary digs, right? Like they already done some exploration to figure out where they were going to do the major dig.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah.
It's like
They
ground
would've-
radar looking for cartridges. Like,
Well, and they would have
a
known
square.
like
There
where
it is.
they would have known where everything was getting dumped at that time and what was being used and
I mean, it's been open secret, or not secret, but it's been openly said for many years exactly where that stuff was buried. At least they were pretty sure where it was, which is odd because who tracks that stuff all the way to the dump site? Unless when they were clearing out the Atari building, they were like, listen, we don't have enough money to haul this away, so you guys just put it in the back of your truck and drive it out there.
Drive it till you run out of gas because we can't pay for any more gas, and then just shove it out the back of your truck. But yeah, so I guess apparently that's part of the upcoming Xbox Originals that they're going to be launching for delivery via the Xbox Network. I don't know what to call it.
I think it's Xbox. Yeah, it's just Xbox Live.
Yeah, Xbox Originals, and it's going to be pushed out via Xbox Live to 360 and Xbox One users at some point later this year.
Also, though, they say other Microsoft devices, so I assume it'll be on Windows Phone and
Surface,
maybe PC.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Oh, sooner
It's
or
a
later, those
Microsoft
things
product.
usually do work their way over to Windows.
They've already eased up like the Xbox Video Marketplace, where now you can watch video on Windows 8 devices as well as your Xbox, and like that stuff transfers now. So
Yeah.
it could be that was the precursor to this.
I hope they come up with a different name, though, because Xbox Originals seems really confusing with original Xbox
Yes,
titles.
I keep thinking the same thing. Like when I keep reading articles with the headline about Xbox Originals, I keep thinking, are they introducing emulation of the Xbox One to play original Xbox titles? Like, oh no, this is the video content stuff.
Which that'd kind of suck if you got emulation for original Xbox but couldn't play 360 titles. Still.
Right. Yeah. So I guess they've confirmed and talked about a lot of people who are making content and specific shows that are going to be launching with that. If you need any more ideas, I know some guys in Austin who make stuff. Microsoft, just saying.
Occasionally.
We could
Here or there.
Yeah, make some stuff for you. I just want to throw that out there. Just casually putting that out there.
Twitter tells us, thank you, Justin Keeps, for telling us that the movie we're looking for is Just Go With It.
Just
No, that's the one that I'm thinking of. That's the one with Jennifer Aniston. Justin.
Okay. Now my movie knowledge is obviously falling apart now. With my Adam Sandler tracking through the years has gotten slower and slower.
You remembered Click.
I remembered Click. Which I never saw, but I
never saw it, but I heard
of.
that it had a surprisingly sad ending, and I was like, well, in that case, I'm not going to watch it. I was going to watch it for shenanigans, not to actually feel things.
It's actually really sad. It takes a weird, dark, sad turn, much like Adam Sandler's career.
Oh,
So
he's crying into his millions.
yeah, that guy did Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2, and like he bought everyone Ferraris, right? Because that movie was so
I
successful.
think those did really well. Yeah.
Oh, no, the film was called Blended.
Blended.
That's the
Maybe.
new one.
Maybe.
Yes, that's the new one.
The new one.
That's the Drew Barrymore one where they go to like the exotic location
And Break Up.
no, they broke up and then they go to the exotic location.
Sorry, wrong
Yeah,
word.
I bet they unbreak up in the exotic location.
I bet that's a
think they
possibility.
rediscover their romance.
I'm pretty sure through a series of hijinks.
What do you think? I've never seen something like a romantic comedy video game. But that's just not
Japan
really.
is big on those.
Are they? Are you talking about your ass?
Are they
No,
comedy?
absolutely true.
Are they actually romantic comedies, or are they just romantic?
They make
tentacles?
a lot of kind of like slice of life, kind of almost like choose your own adventure type games, where it's you'll have interactions with people at school, and there's a lot of really.
I played Cooking Mama.
There you go.
I
There's, hey, that's almost
had
there.
a slice of that life.
It's
learning
about
to
someone
cook
that
ramen.
romances a cake, right?
Romancing the Cake. I saw that. It was
There you
a
go.
sequel to Jewel of the Nile,
A
right?
bit of flour, a little bit of egg. Jewel of the Nile. Wow. I think anybody who's seen that movie that currently watches this show.
So yeah, I never thought about the concept of a romantic comedy game until I actually moderated a panel at South by Southwest Games this year with some people who work in the games industry, and one of them said there's all these untapped markets. Like for example, there could be a romantic comedy video game. And I said, I never realized I wanted to play that game until you just told me that that genre could potentially exist.
It'd be really funny.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but imagine if you've got a love triangle and you get to decide which one you go with. Look, I'm just saying that it would get an awful lot of like Twilight fans suddenly into video games. They'd be like, oh, I wanted to go Team Wolf Dude, whatever his name was.
Yeah, Team Wolf.
And
that
then at
was
the
his
end,
name.
do you get stats like
Like so and
75%
such
of the
many,
people went with Wolf
right?
Dude.
Telltale style.
There you
So
go.
speaking of that, I did not put this story in my list of topics to talk about because I forgot about it.
'Cause you failed.
But I saw an article, I think it was on Kotaku earlier this week, that was something like, you're playing a dating simulator and you don't know it. And then if you read it, it's like, if you're playing the Wolf Among Us, congratulations, you're playing a dating sim. You just don't know that you're trying to impress Snow White the whole time. So they drew an analogy between playing as Bigby and your interactions with Snow White as being like a dating simulator. And
Like, do you get it right? Like, oh, she's gonna remember that.
Right.
She's not gonna think highly of you for it.
Right. You're like trying to impress this virtual character. I was like, that's kind of weird. That's an interesting way to think about it.
And have you played all the Wolf Among Us episodes that are out?
Yeah.
I'm really happy, by the way, that they've picked up the pace.
Yeah.
It was what, like 5 months between episode 1 and episode 2?
4. I think it was 4. But yeah, it was a long time. And then it was like a month between 2 and 3.
Which is just good.
But now I'm waiting for the next segment for Walking Dead season 2.
Yeah, well, are they alternating now? Like, what's the deal with that? This is their release schedule is what made me so scared of them working on Tales from the Borderlands and Game of Thrones in addition to those. Because they made that announcement in the middle of not being able to get Wolf Among Us episode 2 out.
Yeah. Well, and then they've come out and said that they had some very specific issues pushing that title out.
Yeah, they didn't say what the issues were. They were just like, yeah, we had issues.
Man,
but guess what? Game development consists of issues.
We ran out of beer twice.
I got really hungover. Here, let me read this thing. I want to remind everyone, this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Nothing feels better than that first shave with a fresh blade, right? It's smooth, it's close, and the blade is as sharp as it's ever going to be. It feels fantastic. But thanks to the big shave company's ridiculous prices, you can't afford to use a fresh blade every week. So you drag that dull-ass blade across your face for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 weeks. Why do you do that to yourself? Maybe because the only thing more painful than shaving with an old blade is shelling out $30 for a pack of new ones. If you want to enjoy a fresh blade every week, but you don't want to take out another mortgage on your house, you got to join DollarShaveClub.com. For just a couple bucks a month, DollarShaveClub.com ships me the highest quality blades you can get. I'm a 4-blade guy, and with Dollar Shave Club, it's only $6 for a 4-pack. Seriously, only $6 for the best quality blades you can get. So every week, I can pop in a fresh blade and treat myself to an amazing shave. It's incredible. Join DollarShaveClub.com, get amazing quality blades in the mail for a couple bucks, and treat yourself to a brand new blade every single week. Hundreds of thousands of guys have upgraded their shaving with Dollar Shave Club. Now it's your turn. Shave time, shave money, DollarShaveClub.com/rooster. That's DollarShaveClub.com/rooster. Much thanks to Dollar Shave Club for their continued support of The Patch and our bringing of video game news and the creeper stealing my beer.
They'll do that.
That's not a beer, is it?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's a soda.
Oh. Right.
No, that's totally
Wait, you can't have open containers on podcast sets these days? Or?
Yeah, the FCC is cracking down or something. So the creeper reminded me, there were some Minecraft stories I want to talk about. I'm going to see if I can find them here. So Minecraft, I guess, announced, Minecraft sales figures. Okay, they just announced that they've sold 15 million units on the PC.
And they just passed 12 on Xbox.
Right. Cumulatively, I think they're approaching the 50 million mark across all platforms. Talking about Minecraft sales is the new Star Citizen crowdfunding update.
Which also passed $43 million.
I lumped Star Citizen in here with Minecraft in my list of topics to talk about.
I actually, it's weird when you think about it because I go, oh yeah, 43 million. That's a lot of money for like pre-funding, but if a game were to make that, that's actually like at normal retail, $60 game, that's 716,000 copies. Which you go, well, a lot of games sell more than 716,000 copies until you realize that they're essentially pre-ordering. Yeah. 716,000 people have pre-ordered the game.
So if you go with a $5 pre-order and divide that into 43 million, that's a hell of a lot more.
It's crazy.
That's 8. Yeah, I can't.
Is that going to end up in really weird numbers for them as a business though? Because most of those people that have contributed to that are then going to get a copy of the game at the end. So the more of that pre-money you're getting, the less sales you're going to do. I mean, you've already done essentially.
43 million divided by 5 is 8.6 million.
It's just that their pricing model is different. Their financial model is different. So that instead of making a game and spending all the money on the development and then making the money back once it's out, they're just making the money. They're making the money while they're making the game.
And then I guess you have incentive to keep costs down by just, doing it right the first time.
And then you have the opportunity to sell expansion packs, DLC, microtransactions.
So it's like you're crowdsourcing the engine build, and then you can do anything on top of that is gravy.
Right.
Sure.
Gravy. I should have got a can of gravy. Other Minecraft news. I guess Minecraft Realms has officially launched, which is like their first-party server system. The first time I heard about this was last year at South by Southwest. I went to their panel, and they talked about it, and I think that was the first time I heard about it. And here we are, like over a year later, and it's finally coming out. It's $13 a month.
Yeah, and it was available like in Sweden for a while, and then I want to say it rolled out elsewhere in Europe, and now it's finally available in North America, which is great for people who want to have a server but don't know how to go about it, or just don't want to deal with all the third-party stuff.
Or don't want to maintain it. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it really makes it easy. I haven't seen the interface for controlling it, or if, what level of control you have over it, but it's a hell of a lot. I'm sure it's a hell of a lot easier.
Well, and Realms also has like pre-built mini games that you can do, so you can switch your world into a mini game mode, and they have a whole bunch they're already made. And then you just switch it over, you play these crazy games, and then you switch it back to the world. And you can invite all your friends in.
I wonder how modifiable it is. I mean, how easy it is. Minecraft is huge on mods these days, and how easy it is to, which a lot of them aren't necessarily server side, but there are plenty of them that are. I wonder how easy it is to do that.
Oh, like the mod support. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and why don't we just get it?
Want we get one?
Yeah, I mean, you do so
we
much
could
work
get one
with Minecraft. I think we can spare the $13 to try it out. We should definitely then talk about it next week. Speaking of talking about it next week, did you get a chance to play Dark Souls 2?
I have indeed played PC Dark Souls 2.
How was
it? Okay, first of all,
why did you wait for the PC version?
PC Master Race over here.
Well, there's that, but we also got to the point where it was late enough it was close enough to it coming out, and we hadn't talked about it, so I figured if I was going to get it, I might as well get it on that platform and get it looking a little bit better. I'd heard that there had been some, I said last week that it was frame rate issues, but people said it's not frame rate issues, but it was just frame tearing, which is frame rate issues. So,
is
all
it?
right.
If you're splitting hairs at that point.
It really is, yeah. No, frame tearing is caused by just the frame rate being out of sync with the refresh rate of the screen. So, in this case, it's a frame rate issue. It looks different than stuttering. So I figured I'd get on PC. I've played it now on PC for a while. It is
for a while since last week.
I've got maybe 20 hours or so into it, 20, 25, I guess.
Very respectable.
No, not really for that game. I mean, it can take.
Well, for a week, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Final verdict, at least for me. Well, not final. I'm going to continue playing it, but I can understand why people like this game. I can understand, just much like with Trials Fusion, like there's a very specific type of mindset where you're like, I'm going to do this one task 1,000 times until I just get it perfectly. It's not a terribly pretty game. Honestly, the character creation kind of looks like something out of an iOS game. Like they're really low poly. And in fact, the best looking part of this game is things that are way over there in the distance. Anything that happens to be
blurry
kind of
things.
Well, you got nice light coming through kind of a backdrop. It's not so bad.
Like nice environment effects.
Yeah, way back there. Up here, it's a little low poly. It's a game that seems to be entirely centered around the idea of just kind of run around and do your thing.
And die a lot.
Die a lot, and it's going to help you do that by anytime you find a big boss guy, you're going to spend a couple times fighting him, trying to figure out exactly what his attack pattern is. Then you're just going to spend the rest of the fights until you get him, trying to stay out of that attack pattern. Every time you find a big bad guy, he's going to be surrounded by a cliff that you can fall off of. No one's really going to tell you a story. You can go find occasional people sitting around to talk to you, but they all talk like they're on NPR, and they're very sad.
Well, I want to put this game
I'm
now.
in this place, and it's very dark here, and we don't like being here. And maybe I could tell you a little bit about the fate of this world, or maybe I could just be sad. That's pretty much your every encounter with other NPCs.
How was your prediction of the game's story? Was it pretty accurate?
Well,
the king's not doing his job. You gotta go find out why.
Everybody's cursed. You get your, obligatory. There's like an intro cutscene with some old blind lady, which means she's an oracle who's going to tell you the fate of the world. And then you're a cursed guy. If you die, you don't really die. You just kind of come back as an undead guy who's
also cursed.
Who's still cursed. You're cursed either way. There's just curses all around. You're just trying to figure out why the curse hasn't been lifted by the king. So you're questing to find the king, and along the way you've got to acquire a lot of souls to level up.
What does this curse do? Like, why is
it's bad? The undead thing is the curse. So when you die, you just continue to live as an undead person.
But
a hollow.
Essentially, you never die.
Stole it from Bleach.
So it's not really a curse, is it? You're essentially immortal? Like, there's no bad things that happen from dying.
Is it really a curse to be given eternal life?
I'm guessing, they haven't laid it out there, but you fight a lot of these undead guys, so I'm guessing over time, maybe your brain starts to kind of decay. there are items that you can. Every time you die, you then are undead, and as undead, you can't do certain things, and your life bar gets shorter.
Wait,
so
then
the
do
more
you
times you
become
die,
undead? Or you
So-
just become re-undead?
you can become a human by using an item. You shove it in your chest, then you're a human again. But you're still a cursed human, so if you die at that point, you're going to go back to being undead.
And you got to get another item. So I see it's just
go.
expensive.
And as you die,
Could you get
as you continue to die,
Could you get undead insurance? That's also cursed.
haven't found it yet.
Okay.
Maybe it's a covenant that I just haven't discovered. But and as you die, you don't have to turn back into a human. You can just being an undead is just the same, except that your health bar continues to get shorter as you die more and more and more if you don't convert back to human. And you can't do things like some of the cross-realm stuff, which is an interesting mechanic the game does have. You can leave little... It's like having Twitter integrated into it. You can leave messages on the ground that then people
Cursed
upvote.
Twitter.
It's like cursed Twitter, right. Because people can upvote the comment.
So it's like Twitter.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are like, treasure ahead, or just like, praise the sun. You know, they like to say things like that. And then everybody upvotes the praise the sun, even though that's...
You know, that's not the helpful thing.
Yeah, it's... sometimes people lie. The bloodstains thing is kind of cool because you can touch the bloodstain and see what killed somebody in front of you. Or, you know, it's like, oh, that guy rolled off a cliff, which you're going to do a lot.
So there's
that's the
a
other
lot
thing.
of bloodstains.
The PC port of this is not great for control. That's one of the things it really kind of uses against you as an added level of difficulty that's kind of bad.
I remember hearing that it's not quite a port.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. It still gives you all the control tooltips in controller speak.
Really?
Yes.
Well, maybe it's a PC game that just expects you to use a controller.
Well, you pretty much have to because it is uncontrollable. Nigh.
It is not.
Here's my
uncontrollable.
favorite part. Okay, so you do a lot of talking to people despite your best effort because most of them are merchants, but you can't get to their merchant menu until you've had like 2 or 3 conversations. You gotta build a
small
rapport.
talk.
You gotta build a rapport with them.
Is there haggling?
There's no haggling. I haven't even been able to sell anything, and I've acquired a lot of items. None of them are better than the starting equipment.
Maybe you need to talk more.
Maybe so.
Like
Maybe I just need-
you chat up the merchants some
I
more.
chat them until they stop saying new things, and well, you get to a point, and then finally they unlock their you can buy stuff menu. But yeah, so you do a lot of talking to people. You finally get items. Most of the items are not better than what you started with. Eventually, you do get a few things that are, but then you have to level up. The leveling system, you spend souls, which are also your currency, to level up. But it changes your stats like 1 HP at a time. So, I gave myself another strength. Now I got 2 more HP. Woo! Yeah, the controls actively work against you in a lot of situations. It's like, there's a guy around this corner. You know, your camera kind of sucks, so you're not going to know it until he hits you.
It's like the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2. Like that's what people complained about back then. It was like the camera was placed in strategically to make it difficult for you.
Exactly, just to give you the jump scare.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a game that when you beat it, I'm sure you feel amazing because it is challenging, and it makes you really think about your life in the game very carefully because there's no save files. There's like you die, then you have to live with the consequences of that. But overall, I don't know that I would say it was a good game. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that.
You're gonna upset the Dark Souls 2 cultists.
We would have had.
And the things that I criticize about it in a lot of ways are the kind of things that some people will say make it a good game. But I think maybe just part of it is it's definitely far more playable once you plug a controller in. The mouse and keyboard is terrible. In fact, the interact with when I was going to with the talking thing is the button to talk is shift left click.
Okay.
The button to stab is left click.
Just left click.
And there is a noticeable lag on holding shift before left clicking, and you can stab anybody.
Okay.
Like all merchants in the game can be killed, essentially. Like anything will turn on you if you hit it a couple times.
Are there like key quest givers or things
There's
for
no
the
quests.
story?
There are no quests. You just kind of wander around, kind of looking generally for things to do. It's sort of got that. It's got that like Doom, like okay, here's a locked door. I need to go find a key for that door.
Even though you don't know if you need to go through that door.
Eventually, you just run out of places to go, and it's like, okay, well, I guess the locked door. So I guess I'll go. You start from you get kind of a city that has multiple branching areas you can go to.
So you just explore.
Yeah, so there will be a video of my experiences with this. I'm not sure when it'll go up, and I'm going to continue playing it. Maybe I will get further in and it'll turn around. Thus far, I have not invaded another realm, and I have killed one boss, which was kind of sucked, but that was probably my fault because I was way too low level to be fighting him at the time that I did. I have not lost any souls yet, though. When you die, you drop all your currency on the ground, and if you don't make it back to that point to pick it up, you lose them all.
So I see here, according to Spud Nugget on Twitter,
sounds like a reputable source.
In Dark Souls 2, there's only one guy in the entire game you can sell stuff to. I don't know if that's true or not.
Nice. I believe it. I haven't met anybody yet that had a sell dialogue. So I've carted around a bunch of. Well, you end up putting it in your stash, basically like Diablo.
We would have had Gilby out here to refute you, but we're not quite ready to be able to accommodate a fourth person yet.
I'm curious to hear what he has.
You know that he's probably like standing over in the corner, just like.
Oh yeah. I can actually feel
right now.
his eyes through the building.
Through the internet, coursing down, coming out of our TVs, right back to us. So, I don't know, you said something that made me think about this, but I watched this video earlier today about, I guess these people in Sweden built a rig for an Oculus Rift where they put a GoPro in front of it and a little Raspberry Pi computer so that what you saw in the Oculus Rift was what was being, I guess, captured via the GoPro.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically made it an extraordinarily complicated way to see exactly what's in front of you?
Yes, but it was an experiment to try to demonstrate what lag would be like in real life, because they could adjust the amount of delay between the GoPro sensing it and then it getting
Looks
fed
like they
to
had
your...
a lot of trouble with eggs.
Well, here's my problem with this video. So it's a cool concept, right? They're different settings, but I had a lot of problems with this video. So they could set a lag of 300 milliseconds. The only two settings they mentioned were the three settings they mentioned were lag-free, 300 milliseconds, or 3,000 milliseconds.
That seems like a lot of milliseconds.
Excessive.
Even 300 is on the top end of...
That's unplayable. That's like 56K bad connection internet stuff. I felt like a lot of the trouble people had wasn't necessarily because of the lag, but you saw like they missed the egg in the bowl. Mm-hmm. It's depth perception.
Yeah.
It's depth perception and spatial disorientation.
But isn't Oculus Rift supposed to be able to be good for that?
The GoPro is only taken in one field.
Yeah. It's a single camera collecting it.
Yeah,
so it's not feeding into both eyes independently.
Yeah, there's no like parallax there. Mm-hmm. So they can't
need
see
two
depth.
GoPros.
Yeah, if you had two GoPros and you set them up, this would be a much better experiment. Also, so a lot of the problems I felt were because of a lack of depth perception, and other times people just didn't know where they were, if that makes sense.
Well, they didn't wait. Like it looked like from a lot of the video, they would just continue. It's kind of like one of those things where like you have to answer. Like you can't not answer.
Yeah, you can't stop making this omelet. You have to keep going.
Yeah, do not wait until the video catches up. You just got to keep going. If they didn't do that, if they and video gamers are used to doing, like wait until the thing catches up and then do the next action.
Right.
Also, can we just take a minute to marvel at Gus, who works on immersion, talking about bad experiments?
I'm just saying. Just saying. That's all.
Like, this isn't science.
Yeah.
But
now, if they were really committed, they would have put them out there on a paintball course and let them fight it out like we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have experience with goggles and video transmission and all of this stuff.
By the way, I admire you guys for not covering up that hole after Michael fell in it twice. Just so we could get the third one.
The third time really helped.
Yeah.
It was a giant hole. There's no way we could have covered that up. It was huge. It was massive.
Also, kudos to Michael for not learning the map. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's true. That's like video game, like multiplayer 101. You got to learn the map. You got to know where your stuff is.
Where the weapons spawn. Mm-hmm. Where the snipers are in the towers.
Where the holes are.
Where the holes are.
Also a problem in Dark Souls. Walked into a hole or two. They just walk off an edge. Then you're
so I guess in that immersion, there would have been a big blood splatter around that hole.
There you go.
Showing that Michael could have been warned. Oh, people have fallen here before.
And right next to it, praise the sun.
Praise the sun.
Is that like in Joker?
It must be some part of the Dark Souls lore of which it has not been explained to me because I don't bother to listen to the NPC talk for 45 minutes.
Because you're a heathen.
I am.
I feel like before Dark Souls, what was the last game that had... It was the cult of difficulty, right? It's the people who say the games are way too easy. They love being punished, basically.
Sadists.
I remember there was Super Meat Boy.
Uh-huh.
What cult of difficulty games have been between Super Meat Boy and Dark Souls. Well, or Demon Souls, I guess, if you want to go Origins.
I imagine Trials fits somewhere in there too, because
Trials.
there's a lot of things, especially in the most recent one. There's a lot of things that, at least according to the guys I'm sitting next to, say that nigh impossible.
I still have
Nigh
nightmares about the
impossible.
Giga Track.
I've been using nigh twice
I really
today.
like it. You know, are you
Nigh.
sure that the NPCs in Dark Souls didn't rub off on you just a little bit?
No, if they did, I would be talking. Oh, it's dark and nigh impossible. I'm sad.
I normally don't like those kinds of games, like the ultra difficult, punish you games. I do like Trials though.
And again, that's something that it shares with Dark Souls. I've never felt like what I was doing in the game, Trials or Dark Souls, was impossible. It was always right there on the edge, and that's what keeps you going back for both of those games, is the feeling that you've almost got it. And once you get it, then you're like, ah.
Trials is one of those games for me where I'll get, like, my hands will get incredibly sore just from, like, holding the triggers and just basically being angry.
The claw.
It's just that yes. And then I'll just go around the next day going,
Why do I do this to myself?
Right.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it's a fun game though. I've still been playing quite a bit of it. Here, I'm gonna read this thing. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by NatureBox. Your mission is to snack smarter to get in shape by summer. Your enemy, the vending machine. But when you're starving at 3 p.m., all cranky and lightheaded, the evil vending machine can seem like your only friend. Don't give in. Head over to naturebox.com. NatureBox sends great tasting snacks right to your door, and they're great for you too. We're talking healthy snacks like barbecue kettle kernels, everything bagel sticks, South Pacific plantain chips, and over 100 more. Zero trans fats, zero high fructose corn syrup, nothing artificial. Even snacks that are gluten conscious and non-GMO. With free shipping anywhere in the U.S., NatureBox is busting up the vending machine's monopoly on your midday hunger. Try NatureBox right now. Get 50% off your first box by going to naturebox.com/thepatch. That's naturebox.com/thepatch. Stay full, stay strong. Go to naturebox.com/thepatch. That's naturebox.com/thepatch. 50% off. I forgot to update my address for NatureBox.
I was going to ask if they caught up to you here.
So I had to go back and do that the other day and have it updated to come out here. Speaking of NatureBox,
All right.
Plants vs. Zombies has a...
That is a good segue.
Wow.
Well done, sir.
Plants. It's natural.
No, I'm complimenting you.
I'm not sure those plants are natural.
So it's coming out PC, release date
Lots of
announced.
herbicides, really. It's like the viruses that survive in a hospital. That's the one that just made it through several iterations of a garden.
So coming out PC June 24th.
Uh-huh.
And also they announced that they're adding microtransactions into Garden Warfare.
I'm amazed that it lasted this long.
We talked about this when it first came out, about how we were both shocked that there were no microtransactions in the game. Because you could obviously see where they were supposed to be, they just weren't there.
Oh, yeah. In fact, before launch, they basically was like, yeah, no microtransactions at launch. And then you're like, yeah.
You know what?
This
I'm fine
is
with
coming.
that, honestly. Like, at this point, I can see how that microtransaction thing might actually be really nice, because at this point, a new player jumping in, if they don't feel like getting all those packs together and they want to play...
They want to get caught up.
Yeah, because there's something to be said for the character unlocks, especially if you're playing some of the non-classic game modes, where after a while getting shot by a special class... you kind of want one.
Yeah.
It gets really annoying not to be able to return the favor.
Well, I thought the interesting thing also is there's no microtransactions to buy specific items.
Mm-hmm.
There's just microtransactions to buy coins to in turn buy the packs, which have random items in them.
Uh-huh.
So you can't be like, I want to buy that particular loadout.
Yeah.
No, it's like, no, you just have to buy packs of cards.
Though you can, they do have a pack of cards which will unlock a character. It's like, this is guaranteed you will get one of the characters. It doesn't tell you which one. Okay. But you know that you will unlock a special card.
I know they had some that were like guaranteed to contain like X number of rare cards and things like that in them.
I don't mind Plants vs. Zombies microtransactions as much as some other games, if only for the fact that it's not a full-priced game on its own. But if you end up spending more than $20 on it, then I mind.
I've been really impressed with Plants vs. Zombies, or Garden Warfare, I guess more specifically, because of and we've talked about it before, they've really given a lot of content after the fact for free. And that is one of the most relaxing shooter experiences I think I've ever had.
Yeah,
I very rarely hear those two words that close to each other.
And part of it is because in that particular game, there's frequently kind of a delay between action. Like, you'll get in a fight And depending on what game type, if you're doing one of the team death matches, it's obviously more action. But even then, the maps are big enough that you may have a second or two before you have to get back into action. So it's kind of just like a walk, you know. And it's not a really tedious walk either. It's, okay, you know, let's get back to battle. Yeah. Have a good time.
And I've said this before. I really liked that game. I'm a little saddened by the fact it came out so close to Titanfall because I played a lot of it, and then as soon as Titanfall came out, I put Garden Warfare aside, and now I'm finally at a point where I'm starting to play less Titanfall. So I think I'm going to start switching back more over to Garden Warfare and play that some more. But I'm still playing too much Hearthstone and Diablo 3. I'm totally in Blizzard mode at the moment. I've just been playing. I'm trying to get my character to level 70 in Diablo 3. I'm at 68 right now, so I should be there pretty soon.
Right on the
we
threshold.
should do that hardcore playthrough.
Yes, we've been saying that forever.
Yeah, we should just do that.
Absolutely.
You just rotate. What do you think? Would you rotate people through? Like if you live, and if somebody dies, then you replace them with another person?
I don't know. It's almost like start over. Like I feel like you should just keep going, and then it's like a thinning of the herd. Like see who can progress the longest, the furthest.
Yeah, like how long can you make it?
Who would be the last?
Yeah,
alive?
like who's the last survivor? You're just rooting for him.
The Highlander.
And then you run into people trying to sabotage each other.
No, that doesn't sound anything like
that?
us.
Yeah, no, we absolutely should
Constantly.
do that. In other news, I don't know if you saw, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes announced they shipped 1 million units across all platforms.
Shipped or sold?
It says shipped.
So not sold yet, but a lot of times that doesn't include the digital versions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess you wouldn't.
Because those would be sold.
The packets are shipped?
Unless they count them shipped and sold at the same exact time.
Yeah.
But a lot of
That'd
times
be
I
an
think
odd
they're just talking about the numbers that they've sent to retailers.
Yeah, all it says is it shipped over 1 million units worldwide since its launch last month.
It was one of the top selling games right after it came out.
Yeah, I mean,
it was.
I feel like this is another game I didn't do justice to. I played through it. I finished it, but I didn't go back, and there's a lot of replayability stuff you can do. I didn't go back and do any of that. But as part of this press release, they also announced that all of their console-exclusive gameplay modes are going to be available on all platforms May 1st. So I feel like that's a good time to go back and re-explore it and dive back into it.
Does that mean the classic Snake mode will be available on Xbox now, and the Raiden mission will be on PlayStation?
Yes.
Hey, look at that, internet! I got Raiden right.
Yep. So now you'll be able to go back. And May 1st, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or today, if you're not watching this podcast live. Yeah, so, it's a good time to jump back into that, too. Garden Warfare and Metal Gear and Ground Zero. So I'm gonna
get out of the way for Watch Dogs, which is May 27th.
Is it 27th or 28th?
27th. And then Mario Kart on May 30th.
Yeah, there you go. Nintendo's trying to resurrect itself again with another Mario Kart game.
Wow.
I'm going to talk.
I'm
sorry.
Let's talk about Watch Dogs for a second.
Right.
We will talk about, because I have other Nintendo stuff I want to talk about, too. And you're not going to like it, probably.
Wow, that's a mean look. Right.
So, yeah, they also, leading up to the Watch Dogs release, they also announced their I guess, some DLC stuff that's going to be...
Yeah, they announced their season pass.
Yeah, they're going to have some new single-player stuff with some mini-campaigns involving the character T-Bone, 3 additional missions, 5 costumes, and an Untouchables pack, which includes a Tommy gun and
The Untouchables pack, I think, is probably the most interesting thing in there. Actually, the campaign's the most interesting thing for itself. But for North America, unless you buy the season pass, you can't get the Untouchables pack. It's only going to be in there. I assume it's different internationally because of laws of things.
Because of laws.
But yeah, so at least in North America,
tariffs.
If you don't get the season pack, you can't buy a standalone.
Which it's interesting because that sounds very much like the Valentine's Day Massacre DLC that GTA had.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
Appropriately enough.
Indeed. So I guess this is another game that has free roam multiplayer, right?
8 player.
8? Wow, that's good.
Though it's a little bit more climby than GTA, as I understand it.
Yeah, they haven't detailed a lot of the stuff with multiplayer. They've shown that you can go in and you can be in someone's game and they don't necessarily know who you are. And there's modes where you just try and kill them.
I like this.
And so anyone else on the street could be that guy who's trying to kill you, and you don't know. And you have to try to figure out who they are and track them down in a certain time. It sounds really cool, but beyond that, a lot of the multiplayer is
Nobody knows, which is odd. This close to release, that there isn't. Maybe there's not a lot to it.
I imagine it's not the focus. You know, whenever you hear about Watch Dogs, it's very much about the story and the world and the exploration, and they might go, yeah, so we put some multiplayer in it.
Well, that's a big feature and a lot of time invested not to have more publicity around it, though. I mean, that's not a trivial thing to add.
It might not be a big selling point for the game.
Or unless it's like a first iteration of multiplayer for something else, because Assassin's Creed, the next Assassin's Creed, have also been rumored to have that sort of narrative, cooperative multiplayer.
You know, I think some of this may also be laid at the feet of we're living in a post GTA 5 online era where big promises not being met have large backlash. It seems like everybody's clammed up. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, there'll be features.
I would love to see how many people were playing GTA Online when it came out and how many are playing it now.
You know, it's still...
Because they don't share those numbers, but I would love to see how much that's changed, how much it's dropped off with people just getting tired of it and not having anything new to hold their interest, in spite of the content creator.
Yeah.
You know, they still...
Which there have been a lot of interesting things coming out of the content creator, and they've expanded it with the capture mode content creator. But everything is still in beta. It's weird. Like,
how long has it been out?
The content creator's been out for months.
I mean, the game's been out for 7 months.
Well, the
Has it been
GTA
7
Online
months?
is not
It came out in
beta.
September last year. I guess it came
in
out
October.
online. Came out in October.
Yes. Well, the first. It came out 2 weeks later, right?
Yeah.
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 It's just the content creator that's still in beta, not the online. But yeah, I mean, they're still talking heists spring of this year.
Tomorrow will be 7 months, actually. Tomorrow's May 1st.
There you go.
Hey, look at you.
Fucking take that, internet.
You being all good with time.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's overdue.
So, but yeah, maybe do you think that that's made a lot of people reticent to really flesh out their press releases?
I don't know. Was there really any backlash? I know people were vocal about it. But,
was some
But did
pretty
they stop
negative.
playing?
yeah, people bought the game. They still shipped units.
Well, they'd already sold it though. That was probably what blew up. Why it blew up so much was because they'd already had your money.
That's true.
That was a feature that they promised. You bought the game. Multiplayer wasn't there to start with. You had to wait 2 weeks, and then they didn't deliver on what they said they were going to have.
That's true.
And I don't think they ever, closing in on when they released it, said, "Oh yeah, this, and this is not going to be there yet." It was just like, "All right, it's live," and you went looking around, and it's like, "Oh,
You're missing stuff. Yeah.
So on that Untouchables pack, the reason that it's available standalone elsewhere is in the UK, at least, it's a pre-order bonus. Thank you, Twitter. Thank you to Blungy Squelch.
Sounds British. I'm sorry, I interrupted our Nintendo discussion a little while ago.
Right.
So you
we
said
should also get
Yeah.
a little Destiny talk in here before we run out of time."
we have
Yes.
9 minutes left.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Go.
Mario Kart 8.
That shouldn't take long, right? Nintendo, right? Sorry. I'm just kidding. Please.
They did something really interesting, I thought.
What's that?
Where they had
She does the best sad faces.
Mega 64 make their pre-E3
I saw
announcement
that.
video with the Reggie Fia-Mech,
Uh-huh.
which is really a weird pairing to see, like Mega 64 and
Nintendo's Big Boss.
Yeah. We're collaborating on a
So the
video.
Nintendo America, I imagine, right?
Yeah. But, this is a lot more, their Nintendo Direct stuff is a lot more, cut and dry, and this was, like, definitely a lot more tongue-in-cheek, a lot more humor-driven.
A lot more Mega 64.
I did not...
Nintendo actually has a really good relationship with Mega 64, though. Do you remember it was several years ago now, but they did a whole thing at GDC with Miyamoto.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And I mean, they're pretty respected in the industry. Like, they did that Kudaragi's Way video with Ken Kutaragi,
that
the
was
father
really
of the
funny.
PlayStation. Yeah.
When I was working at Ubisoft, we actually worked with Mega 64 a lot, being like, make a stupid video of our game, and they'd be like, it's going to be offensive, and we go, it's okay.
Yeah, that's why...
That's a great writer.
That's
It's going to be offensive. Like, all right.
We're like, yeah, we assume so. It's Mega 64. That's why we came to you.
That's why I was most surprised to see them working with Nintendo on that. I think Nintendo's a lot more,
Nintendo is,
kid-friendly.
they do seem very delicate.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe they're trying to break out of that shell.
The last
Blue
Nintendo
shell.
thing I want to mention is sad news. Bob Hoskins died.
71, right?
71.
Wow.
He played Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie. He's the only person. He is Mario. He's the only person ever to have played Mario in a live-action movie.
I don't know that that's an accolade, really.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but
No.
he's Mario. He was also in Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Yep.
which I think is probably what most people know him from.
Yeah, most people are definitely
Smee
referring
from
to
Hook.
the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I liked Hook.
Yeah.
I liked Smee. He was really good.
Yeah. Bob Hoskins.
It's really sad news.
So, yeah, Bob Hoskins passing away.
Atari Destiny.
Destiny. So you saw
Sweet.
it.
I did. So Gavin and I went up to Bungie a couple of weeks ago now and got to play hands-on. We played through a single strike mission.
Okay.
And,
What does that mean?
So a strike is basically like a 3-man co-op mission.
Okay.
And it's you go through, it's that very traditional sort of layout where there's corridors, closed-in areas followed by wide open areas. They throw a mini boss in there that was like a huge spider tank, and then you go through some more. And we came across there were a bunch of aliens fighting each other because they were from different factions and they hated each other, and so we were just like, pew pew pew. Pew, 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 pew. And that was a lot of fun. And then got to an end boss who we didn't get to finish killing. I'm not sure we had enough ammo to anyway because he was really hard. And we got a look at sort of public events. Actually, Gavin stumbled on one by accident.
Oh.
We played through this same strike 3 times. We played as each of the different classes to get an idea how those worked. And he goes, we're like, Gavin, where are you? You've lagged behind. We don't see you anywhere. And he's like, I'm fighting this dude. What dude? We've cleared the whole thing out. And it turns out that he just like gone into like some pipe or something on the side and found a random public event. There was like a mini boss that just popped up. And then just everyone in the area can go and they can take on this mini boss that just appeared.
Everyone being the 3 of you? Or...
Yes, the 3 of us. Once you go in, like when you're in one of those, it's private.
Wait.
Like when you're in a strike.
But you're already in a... Okay, the strike is private.
The strike is private
just
to the 3 of you.
In that instance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an instanced...
Sounds much
Co-op
less of a
level.
public event if it's that particular
No,
kind
but
of closed off
public
world,
events
but...
also happen on a much larger scale in like out in the public areas. I guess this was just like surprise event, so that even if you're playing through the same strike again, it may not be the same because you might like be fighting a new mini boss. That was a lot of fun.
And what platform were you playing it on?
We were playing on PS4.
PS4, okay.
What was your favorite class? Can you say?
Yeah, I think I liked the Hunter. So each class has a superpower. And, well, they each have like a choice of 2 superpowers, and then you can go through and level those up. So the Warlock has one where you get in the middle and it's just an area effect bomb, essentially like a magic bomb, a sci-fi magic bomb. And but the Hunter has either a golden gun, which I assume is a reference to James Bond, or like you get this blade. It's like a big hunting knife, and you turn blue. You start glowing blue, and then you start like
Side effects may include turning blue
and glowing.
and then you're running around, and you can basically
Phosphorescence.
just like one hit kill anything.
Ooh.
And so you go right into a wave, and you just start button mashing and slashing everywhere. I would anytime I got like you have to fill up a meter to like unlock it to use, and anytime I would do that, I'd be like, "Peace, I'm out." And I would leave my teammates. I didn't care what we were supposed to be doing. I just had to go find enemies, and I had to knife them all, and it was a lot of fun.
Is there some element of competitiveness in that, where you're like scorers?
Not in that. Like in that, it's very cooperative. They'll have other modes, I guess. They've got cooperative multiplayer, which they're not showing off yet, but they said they will at E3.
Okay.
Right. You were playing cooperative multiplayer.
Yeah.
Sorry,
weren't you?
cooperative. They're showing competitive
Gotcha.
multiplayer
Okay.
at E3. And we got to talk to a couple of the developers and about how they were building the world, and they're like, yeah, it's like science fantasy kind of. Mythic science fiction is, I think, the term they used, which is how they have like these, like as you play through, and there's just like this spike rising into the sky that's got these bulbs on it, and there's these space shuttles attached to it, and they're like, yes, you see our accelerated technology after the Traveler arrived. It was a cool experience. The game plays very well. It plays very tight.
You didn't mention the Titan. What does he do?
Titan's a different class.
Like
Yes.
His ability.
Yeah, so the Titan, so his is like, it's like a ground punch. He just like, he jumps up in the air and then just like punches the ground. And it's also, I think it's also kind of got an area effect. It's like a kind of like an earthquakey shockwave. And he's a lot of fun. And I think that one, when I was playing that one, I had a shotgun, and I enjoyed that a
Nice.
lot. But all classes can actually use all weapons. So
that's good.
You don't have to worry about that. And what else? It's actually, it was a weird thing. So they've been talking mostly about the fact that, or at least before this, they were talking about how, the RPG elements and the classes and all this stuff. And people were, wondering if it's going to be like an RPG with guns in it. And so for this particular visit, they wanted to talk very much about they want to be like, look, it's an action game, first and foremost. Yes, we have these RPG elements, we have this persistent world, and that's very different from what we did with Halo. But hey, guys, we're good at making action games,
It's a
right?
shooter.
And so that was really their focus. And it actually surprised me a little bit that a lot of the other preview coverage to come out of it was saying it's just a shooter.
It's pretty negative, honestly.
It has been. It was negative, and it took me by surprise because I had a very good time playing it. And I think that potentially a lot of that can come from the fact that they haven't, like, what they showed was specifically to say, look, we can be an action game. And everyone just said, it's just an action game.
You think maybe that they're holding back?
I'm positive they're holding back. I mean, they haven't shown, like, we haven't been able to wander around the public areas and see this and go, oh, I'm gonna wander over there, and I'm gonna go get this gun. And to do this gun, I'm gonna go through these missions. I'm gonna go do all these things. You know, we went through what was, for the purposes of the demo, a more or less linear shooter experience.
Very closed off section of the game, slice of the game.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun, but it was very much like, look, we can be an action game. So I think that probably around E3, maybe we'll see a lot like that expanded out a lot more, so you see how it fits together as a whole and becomes a great action game, but also a lot more. If the biggest complaint that people have about the game now is it's just a really great shooter, then I think Bungie's in a good place.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You think maybe it's a matter of setting expectations? Like a really great shooter is a great thing to have.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, so we'll see how it goes. I really enjoyed it. I'm optimistic that it can do well. If it ends up being nothing but a really great shooter, then, they're also in a good place. If it's what I think that it has the potential to be, it could be a really fantastic game.
That's cool.
The visuals that have leaked out there are very pretty. I mean, it looks attractive as a game, though it does suffer from that future technology is all neon pew 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 guns. That's the one thing I really liked about
What's your
Halo.
problem with lasers and neon?
Colored lasers would be terrible, right?
Yeah. Future.
All right. Well, we're at time on that note. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this week. We'll be back on Monday with another episode of RT Podcast and next Wednesday with another episode of The Patch.
Bye.
Bye.